That's right. What is this? A town for ants? No. This is a massive, massive production. This is Frosthaven. 2-in-1. Frosthaven thoughts, Frosthaven playmats, a little bit of everything mixed in between. Let's talk for a minute. So, Frosthaven, right? Frosthaven is here. Frosthaven is upon us. Frosthaven is among us, if you will. Is it that much different than Gloomhaven? Well, jury's still kind of out on that one, right? We talk about it being different, but as you can see here, some things change and some things stay the same. You have a big plethora of a box that there's just almost too much stuff, right? And how many times have you said that with a board game? How many times have you said that with a board game that didn't include a ton of plastic miniatures? Something to consider. Did you like Gloomhaven? If you didn't like Gloomhaven, this isn't going to do anything for you. This is going to be completely... I have no interest in Gloomhaven. I have no interest in this. I have no interest in Jaws of the Lion, Forgotten Circles, whatever it may be. Frosthaven's not going to change your impressions, your thoughts, your appeal from that aspect of things. If you liked Gloomhaven, though, a few things you need to know. Yeah, there's a little bit more complexity. Yeah, there's a little bit more to do. Yes, it takes a KDM spin of having an outpost that you're having to manage, having to build new buildings, having to retire your heroes in order to unlock new things, new content, more loot as you're crafting it along your way in said buildings that you're slowly going to be able to do more in. Do you want that, though? That's really the question you have to ask yourself, because if you don't, if you want to smash, bash, crash, and finesse occasionally, then maybe more Gloomhaven. But if you want to have another layer of added depth, complexity, and interaction, well, then you can sort of, swim into this thing. Like, literally, my arm is halfway down there, and see if it's your ilk. This thing is so heavy. Now, if you're like me, and you have horrible management skills, right? Like, if you looked at me playing a game on a table, it is a mess. It is an absolute travesty. But now we have a little bit of playmat situation here. If you're one of those people like me that's slowly coming around and being more interested to help me just keep things in an allocated portion of, okay, this goes where, this goes here. How do I keep track of this? Do I have everything out that I need? And, we've got some neoprene playmats here that are not only single-sided, folks, but double-sided. You got your frosty, and then you got, if you're feeling a little bit gloomy, on that side as well. So everything you need is all in, well, several different mats. And this is both the boon and the curse of a game as well as a system. This is a table space hog. This is an heavy hog. And you just need to be aware of what you're getting yourself into, both physically and metaphorically. Less is more was never the motto for one of the Haven crawlers, if you will. And this is exemplified not only in the rulebook, as well as the product that you're actually receiving, but also the overhead that's going to go along with it. This is not your family-friendly, tactical, lighter style of things. And so if you're, again, looking for something that is going to be more in that ilk, look elsewhere. If you want a lifestyle game that will, absorb you into its ecosystem that you can manage actively as you're going along, though, again, this is going to be the preeminent experience that people are going to argue you should go for above all else. Your mileage may vary, of course, depending on what you actually want out of a less luck-driven, non-dice rolling, skirmish-style dungeon crawl, if you will. Do you want balanced scenarios? Do you want a lot of smash and grab? Do you want something besides that as well? Are you going to get your occasional events, scenarios, and outpost missions that you're going to have to deal with and that you may not have any clue what's going to happen because there are no red herrings or other clues that are going to offer you guidance? Yeah, that happens. A little bit of the other frosty world in dead of winter. But if you can manage to get past those small gripes, this offers you a much deeper overall narrative experience that Gloomhaven is just sort of pieced together for in the first place as well. What you have to ask yourself in this game is more. Are you better off with more, right? I have a little bit of an example here right in front of me from Crafty Kingdoms of what you can utilize with this, right? I'm sitting here at a 3x3 table, and what you're going to have is the large size of the mat, plenty of space, but you'll notice that it is almost the size of the other two mats put together. And so it just really depends. Do you have the table space and the bandwidth and the overhead, not only for the game itself, but for the actual physical space that this game is going to provide you? Do you need the organization? Are you someone like me who thrives on the chaos at times? Because, you know, in the chaos, you can also cram more stuff. And do you want that element of things? I mean, Crafty Kingdoms is putting out a premium product here with these knitted edges as well. I mean, this is just absolutely fantastic to look at. It's fantastic to actually use. And so that's never going to be the question. It's just, okay, if you're looking at something like this, how much are you willing to pay? And how much space do you have? Again, it's almost a third larger here and almost the size of these other two. So if you take this off to the side here, and you can already see that if I can have this, now I am a firm believer that this size is more ideal for most regular size gaming kitchen tables if you're me. But that's what's going to fit, right? And I would also make the argument that if you're like me, maybe one or the other as well. Because don't you always tend to find when you're doing one of these games that one is harder to keep track of than the other, right? Like, I like my character stuff and I want it in a certain way, and I want my monsters in a certain way, but maybe I'm more willing to compromise on one or the other. So just take that for what you will. But these are very nice products and they integrate very well when you're playing with the game. I have no qualms about it. I mean, it just worked well for us when we played. Speaking of when we talk about lifestyle though, whether it's the game or the Deluxifications that will often go with the game in the first place, right? The question you have to ask yourself is it worth it? Not monetarily speaking in a strict sense, right? You have to ask yourself, is it going to be worth it in the sense that, am I going to utilize it to make the cost justified, whatever the cost point is, if that's $200 on a game or $20 on a game? And I think that's the aspect that we often overlook nowadays still in our hobby. We always get suckered in by, oh, well, this is just another $20. This is just another $20. If you're playing those $20 games, it doesn't matter how good they are if you're enjoying them and you're playing them. And on the other side of things, if you're buying these $200 games or 100 and whatever dollars for Deluxifications to go along with it, whether it's this, that, or the most recent, you know, Deluxified Euro on crowdfunding, if you're utilizing them to their full extent and you're getting enjoyment out of them and they're getting to the table, then again, value is measured completely differently. So the value of Frosthaven, the value of a playmat like this is truly in the eye of the beholder. And I, as someone who has railed in the past against Deluxifications, they have a place in our hobby. I will not argue that. Just like games like Frosthaven, absent absolutely massive imprint on the hobby as a whole. Games that carry their much weight, literally metaphorically speaking as well, cannot be denied. But make no qualms about it, neither of these are for everyone. And at the same time, don't ever feel the need to justify your experience or your enjoyment or lack thereof based on someone else's opinion. And so that's the common thread between these absolutely fantastic playmats that work incredibly well for this game, but also the game itself. Because many people will have made the argument for it, many people will make the argument against it, and you know what the best part about this is? Everybody's right. And that's what makes this fun to talk about. That's why I love talking about board games. Is Frosthaven a great game? Yeah. Is it a great game for you, though? That's where your mileage may vary, because there is no requiem amount that you need to spend in order to get benefit or feel like your value is worth it with a game like this. If you are doing it, more will be better and you will be rewarded. But if it's not something that you find yourself enjoying, neither of these things is going to make the enjoyment there if it wasn't there in the first place, right? Like I said at the beginning, if you are not someone who needs Deluxifications, playmats like this aren't going to be for you. If they are something, I mean, these are top notch. If you loved Frosthaven, if you wanted more out of Gloomhaven, if Gloomhaven didn't bring you the aspects, the balance, the characters, and the abilities that you wanted to see, and you just wanted more, it's going to fly at the same time with flying colors. But again, buy what's right for you rather than people telling you that this is an amazing game and not focusing on what makes it an amazing game for you instead of the masses. There you go. Frosthaven, some playmat talk, some deluxification talk. There you go. Quick hits, quick thoughts. Liege, out. Stay classy. See you around.